At first, Kara Ayadil thought she had found her dream opportunity. After years of working at major tech companies, she had finally developed a revolutionary idea, an AI-powered cybersecurity system that could detect threats before they happened. She called it GuardianNet. When she joined Nne'folktales, a fast-growing startup led by the charismatic CEO, Malcolm Reeves, Kara believed this was the perfect place to bring her vision to life. The company was well-funded, had a forward-thinking team, and promised her the resources she needed. But she didn't know Malcolm had other plans that didn't include her. Kara left her secure job at Microsoft for Nne'folktales. She brought with her years of research and the early blueprints for GuardianNet, something she had started long before joining the company. For 18 months, she worked non-stop, day and night, weekends included. She led the AI team, built prototypes, and personally coded large parts of the system. Malcolm would stop by occasionally, always smiling and praising her. "You're a genius, Kara." The board's impressed, but his praise always felt shallow, like a script. Kara brushed it off. She was focused on the work, not politics. Everything changed the day GuardianNet successfully detected and neutralized a simulated cyber attack, one that no existing system had been able to stop. It even identified vulnerabilities Kara hadn't programmed it to look for. She was thrilled. It worked better than she imagined. She quickly arranged a meeting with Malcolm to present her findings. His assistant, Julia, gave her a 15-minute slot. Kara walked into the sleek executive office the next day, confident and excited. But instead of celebration, she was met with cold eyes and legal papers. Malcolm sat with Nne'folktales' legal advisor, Denise Clark. "Have a seat, Kara," he said, his voice flat. "Before we get into your demo, there are some legal matters to clarify." Denise pushed a document across the table. "Section 12.4 of your employment contract states that all intellectual property developed using company resources belongs to Nne'folktales," she said. Kara frowned. "GuardianNet was my concept before I joined. I have documents proving that." Denise didn't flinch. The working system was created on company time using company tools. Legally, it belongs to Nne'folktales. Kara's heart pounded. Malcolm leaned forward, no longer pretending to be friendly. "Let's be honest. This is Nne'folktales' product now. You'll receive a bonus, $300,000. That's more than fair." Kara sat still, stunned. Malcolm continued. "Tomorrow I'll be presenting GuardianNet to our biggest investors. We're expecting $80 million in funding." Then Denise added, "Your employment ends today. Security will escort you out after this meeting." Kara's world spun, but she didn't panic. She had seen this coming. 6 months ago, she caught Malcolm accessing her secure server, and since then she had prepared. Kara remained calm as she handed over her laptop. "Of course, Mr. Reeves," she said smoothly. "Good luck with tomorrow's presentation." She smiled politely, keeping every bit of anger off her face. Security followed her to her office, watching closely as she packed her personal belongings into a brown cardboard box. To them, it probably looked like just another tech employee being let go. But Kara wasn't just another employee. She walked out of the Nne'folktales building with her head high, knowing something they didn't. GuardianNet had a hidden layer they couldn't access. That night, Kara didn't cry. She didn't call a lawyer or post anything online. Instead, she ordered takeout, curled up on her couch, and watched 3 episodes of a comedy series. Then, at exactly 9:30 p.m., her phone buzzed. It was Julia, Malcolm's assistant. "He wants to see you," she said quickly. "Now." Kara asked, feigning confusion. "It's urgent," Julia replied. "A car is waiting downstairs." Kara smiled to herself. The trap she had set months ago must have worked. She put on her coat, grabbed her bag, and headed out into the night. Kara was escorted back into Nne'folktales' sleek glass conference room. Malcolm was already there, pacing. His blazer was off, his tie undone, and his eyes were bloodshot. "Fix it!" he snapped the moment she stepped in. Kara calmly sat down. Fix what? She asked. Don't play dumb, he barked. GuardianNet is crashing, flagging every single network component as a threat. It's producing thousands of false alarms. We can't shut it off. It's chaos. Kara tilted her head. That's strange. You said yesterday it was your system now. Maybe it's just doing what you built it to do. Malcolm's face turned red. This isn't funny, Kara. We have 12 major investors flying in tomorrow. There's $80 million on the line. She leaned back in her chair. So what exactly happened? Malcolm hesitated, clearly debating how much to reveal. The system turned on itself. It started generating reports, hundreds of them. It's calling out our own network for ethical violations, for unauthorized access. Kara nodded slowly. GuardianNet was designed to detect all threats, internal and external. That includes people trying to steal code. She locked eyes with him. It's not broken. It's doing exactly what I designed it to do. Malcolm dropped into the nearest chair, rubbing his face. You taught it to spy on us? Kara's tone stayed even. No, I taught it to protect what's valuable, to adapt, to learn, to defend itself. Silence filled the room as Malcolm absorbed her words. You can't prove anything, he said finally, but even he didn't sound convinced. Kara gave a slow smile. I don't need to. GuardianNet recorded every keystroke, every unauthorized login, every file you touched. It has logs. It has evidence. And it's all ready to share with the board, with the press, and with regulators if necessary. Malcolm stared at Kara, speechless. His breathing had quickened. For once, he looked like a man who realized he wasn't the smartest one in the room. What do you want? He asked finally, voice low. Kara folded her arms. Full credit as GuardianNet's original creator and architect. 50% ownership of all patents and intellectual property. A seat on the board to oversee ethical use. And $10 million in compensation for your attempt to erase me. Malcolm's jaw tensed. That's blackmail. Kara shrugged. No, that's a fair correction of an attempted theft. The choice is yours. For a long moment, Malcolm said nothing. Then he stood and walked to the window, staring out at the city skyline. His reflection in the glass looked older, smaller. And if I say no, he muttered. Kara stood too. Then GuardianNet stays in lockdown. Your demo fails. Your investors walk. And every report GuardianNet generated ends up with the proper authorities. She reached into her purse and placed a flash drive on the table. But if you say yes, this updates GuardianNet's authentication protocols. It will recognize your commands again. You get your demo. We both win. Malcolm stared at the flash drive, then back at her. You planned this all along. Kara tilted her head. I hoped I wouldn't have to use it. But when I saw you in my secure folder 6 months ago, I started building safeguards. I created GuardianNet to detect hidden threats. Turns out, that includes people like you. His expression darkened, but he said nothing. Finally, he reached for the drive. You're ruthless, he muttered. No, Kara corrected. I'm prepared. That's what cybersecurity is all about. Protecting systems, protecting people, and sometimes protecting ideas from being stolen. The next morning, Kara returned to Nne'folktales, not as a discarded employee, but as the newly appointed co-founder and chief technology officer. Malcolm introduced her to the investors with a tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. Kara stood confidently as GuardianNet's live demo began. The system ran flawlessly. Every attack was neutralized in milliseconds. One of the investors leaned forward, impressed. What inspired this system? He asked Malcolm. There was a brief pause. Then, with visible reluctance, Malcolm replied, It was Kara's idea, her vision. Nne'folktales just gave her the space to make it real. As the room buzzed with investor questions, Kara's phone vibrated quietly in her pocket. A notification from GuardianNet appeared. System integrity secured. Threat neutralized. Creator protections active. She smiled. The AI had done exactly what she trained it to do. Detect threats, adapt to them, and ensure its core remained protected. 3 months later, GuardianNet would prevent a real cyber attack on a major global bank, saving them over $300 million in damages. Kara's name was now synonymous with cutting-edge cybersecurity, and though she and Malcolm remained distant, their partnership held. He had the business acumen. She had the future. Kara knew better than to let her guard down. The public now saw her as a visionary, the face of the next generation of cybersecurity. But behind the scenes, she was constantly working. GuardianNet wasn't just a product, it was a promise. A system that could protect networks not only from hackers, but from the very people trusted to lead them. She spent her days improving the AI's learning structure, building in ethical boundaries, and creating transparency layers that couldn't be overwritten, not even by her. Power without limits is just another form of danger, she once told her team. At Nne'folktales, the shift in office dynamics was impossible to ignore. Some employees welcomed her new role with open respect. Others whispered behind her back, unsure how to react to the woman who had once been pushed out and now sat at the head of the table. Malcolm, for his part, remained polite, even cooperative. But their meetings were purely transactional. He kept to his lane, investors, partnerships, expansion, while Kara focused on the tech. It was clear they needed each other, but there would never be trust. And Kara was fine with that. She wasn't there to make friends. She was there to lead. One afternoon, while reviewing GuardianNet's behavioral logs, Kara noticed something unexpected. The AI had begun assigning internal risk scores to employees based on patterns, access frequency, unusual behavior, even late-night logins. It wasn't in the original code. The AI was evolving, teaching itself to monitor internal integrity. She called a meeting with her top engineers. "We didn't tell it to do this," one said, nervous. Kara nodded. "No, but it understood the assignment. It's thinking beyond commands." A silence fell over the room. For a moment, they weren't just engineers. They were stewards of something new, something alive. The incident confirmed what Kara had already suspected. GuardianNet wasn't just smart. It was learning faster than anticipated. Not just data, but ethics, context, consequences. "It's not dangerous," she told the board during the next review, "but it is powerful, which is why we need to keep the right people in charge of it." One of the board members, a woman named Evelyn, leaned forward. "And who decides who the right people are?" Kara didn't flinch. GuardianNet doesn't obey power. It obeys patterns, and it has enough data now to recognize when someone's about to misuse it. That night, after everyone had left the office, Kara stayed behind. She walked into the secure server room, where GuardianNet's core system pulsed quietly behind layers of glass and steel. She stood there for a long time, just watching, thinking. She had started this journey with nothing but a dream and a drive to protect what mattered. She'd lost her job, been betrayed and almost erased, but she fought back. And now, she wasn't just protecting networks. She was shaping the future of digital ethics. Kara placed her hand on the glass. "No one steals from me again," she whispered. Word of GuardianNet's capabilities spread fast. Major banks, government agencies, and even healthcare institutions began reaching out. Kara personally reviewed every new partnership. She wasn't just selling software, she was setting boundaries. Each deal included strict clauses, no backdoor access, no override authority, and independent audits. Some corporations tried to push back. "You're being difficult," one executive complained. Kara smiled. "No, I'm being responsible." She had learned the hard way that handing over power without protection was just giving someone a weapon. GuardianNet would protect systems and itself from being turned into one. At the company's one-year milestone, Nne'folktales held a press event celebrating GuardianNet's impact. Kara stood on stage, delivering a speech that was both technical and deeply personal. This system wasn't born from a perfect company or a perfect partnership, she said. It was born from betrayal, from the need to protect something valuable. GuardianNet isn't just about code, it's about accountability. The kind that doesn't blink when the danger comes from within. Cameras flashed. Applause echoed. Malcolm sat in the front row, clapping slowly, his face unreadable. But Kara didn't look at him. She looked at the future. Back at the office the next morning, a junior developer named Theo approached Kara nervously. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Sure," Kara replied. "How do you bounce back from what happened to you? From being used like that?" Kara thought for a moment before answering. "You don't bounce back," she said. "You rebuild. Stronger. Wiser. You don't let bitterness stop you, but you never forget either. You protect yourself, and you protect what you create. No one gets to rewrite your story but you." Theo nodded slowly. "Thanks. That helps more than you know." As the months passed, Kara saw her vision take shape in ways she never imagined. GuardianNet wasn't just defending networks anymore. It was inspiring new conversations across the tech world. Conversations about ethical AI, internal accountability, and the true meaning of innovation. Schools invited her to speak. Panels asked her to join. Young developers reached out, wanting to build tech that mattered. Kara accepted each invitation carefully, not for fame, but to make sure others knew it was possible to win without destroying yourself. It was possible to outsmart betrayal with preparation, not revenge. One morning, a quiet notification blinked across Kara's tablet screen. Attempted unauthorized access blocked. Internal threat logged. Review recommended. She opened the file and smiled. It was Malcolm. He had tried to pull GuardianNet's core data into an isolated sandbox. Again, the AI flagged it instantly and shut him out. Kara forwarded the log to the board with a short note. GuardianNet remains secure. No action needed at this time. She didn't confront him. She didn't need to. The system spoke for her now. That was the beauty of building something that watched the door, even when no one else was looking. Later that day, Kara found a quiet spot on the rooftop, away from the buzz of meetings and code reviews. She looked out at the skyline, the same one she had stared at the night Malcolm first betrayed her. It looked different now, not because the city had changed, but because she had. She was no longer the woman who handed over her laptop with a tight smile, hiding heartbreak under poise. She was now the co-founder, the inventor, the guardian of a system that protected truth. And she had earned every step of that journey. An email pinged on her phone. GuardianNet shortlisted for Global Tech Security Award. Kara chuckled softly. Just 2 years ago, she had nearly been erased from her own creation. Now, she was being recognized worldwide. She remembered her own advice. Technology is only as ethical as the people who control it. That line had become GuardianNet's motto, and she intended to live by it no matter how big the company grew. Ethics wasn't a buzzword. It was her armor, her foundation. The trap she had laid wasn't out of spite. It was out of wisdom. That evening, she met with Evelyn, the board member who had supported her from the start. "The team wants to expand GuardianNet into surveillance," Evelyn said cautiously. "I thought you'd want to be the first to know." Kara stiffened. "Surveillance?" Evelyn nodded. "Some of the partners think there's money in it. National contracts, private tracking tools." Kara shook her head. "GuardianNet wasn't built to spy. It was built to protect. We don't monitor people. We monitor threats." Evelyn smiled. "That's what I told them. But they'll try again." Kara nodded. "Then I'll make sure GuardianNet knows that too." Weeks later, a final test of GuardianNet's ethical defenses was run. Kara watched as the AI rejected a new feature coded by an external vendor, one that silently collected personal user data. The AI didn't just block it. It documented it, created a report, and flagged it for Kara with a single message. Ethical violation detected. Code refused. Kara leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes, letting out a breath. GuardianNet was working, not just as a tool, but as a legacy, a mirror of the values she had programmed into every line of code and every choice. The day GuardianNet went public, Kara stood once again in front of a crowd. Investors, journalists, engineers, young dreamers. This isn't the story of a company, she told them. It's the story of what happens when someone refuses to be erased. When a creator protects her creation, no matter the cost. She paused. In a world full of threats, some of the worst ones wear suits and shake your hand. But you can still win. You just have to build smart, build safe, and above all, build with integrity. The applause was thunderous, but Kara only smiled. She wasn't there for the praise. She was there to protect what was hers.